Oh, it's live. It's live already. Welcome. Welcome to the call. And still, if whatever comes through you during the call, use the side chat. Let me know what experiences you're having during this call, or what questions that you have, or anything that comes up. What I don't want is I don't want to be rambling on about something and having you guys lost. I don't want to be rambling on about something that you guys already know. And it's like, what the fuck? I know this shit. I don't want to be telling the ABCs to you and you already know the shit. Um, Also, that's about it. I want to make this the most interactive experience as possible and have this custom tailored to all of you who are here right now. And that's like the major benefit of being here live is because you're not just watching some replay of some ginger, saying some other shit to people. So Robert, you said you want to learn to be more authentic, and that's my specialty. So I'm glad you're here. You don't have to say as fuck as much as I do, but it's a bonus. They're like bonus points. My main intention for this call was to really go into the mindset and oh, Iana, she didn't like the first fuck word. um, my intention is to really go deep into the inner game and the mindset so you can master everything in your life, your relationships, your body, your business, everything. Like just being able to be the master of your life and be the creator that you are, rather than living in this sort of cycle that a lot of us live by is like life happens to me. Life always, the storms always come my way and I'm not able to control it. And what I noticed is in the group fuck it, um, I noticed there were some, there it's this awesome place where we can express ourselves. And I noticed a lot of times it's like someone will post and get caught up into their environment and the things going on, especially around this time. It's Christmas time, and a lot of the real shit comes up in families during Christmas. That's when the shit comes up to the surface, and there's plenty of things that can trigger you during the holiday season. So just like the commercial holiday of just people rushing to the store and having to deal with that shit, and family member being close to family members that may have not talked to you for a while, and it just starts to trigger you with those things going on. So I think this is the perfect time to learn how to source your own power and to be in that place of power rather than being affected by all the things around you. And I'm gonna ask you guys to be open to learning some new concepts. Um, for some people, it might be a punch in the gut, like what the fuck? What are you trying to say? But I only say it because I love you and I want you guys to be able to source your own power and kick ass in life.
Yeah, right.
I say it with love. You're gonna be authentic as shit after this. So, so Matt's in the house. You can't be coming in here late. I have ADD, and then I get sidetracked.
Dude, I'm sorry, technical difficulty.
Awesome.
I need some more Ritalin.
So I'm going to tell you that you're responsible for every damn thing that happens in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
You've created everything. Everything that pisses you off. And I even go to the deepest extent, like if I get in a car accident, somehow I created it. Because somehow I put myself in that space at that exact time where I got into that car accident.
Right.
And somehow I subconsciously fed my mind to put me in that situation right then and right there. It could have been like a conscious fearing of being in that car accident, or it could have been something that was unconsciously going through my brain. And somehow, some way, I decided to leave at that perfect time from my house and be right in front of that red light and have that jackass ram into the back of my car. Somehow, I created that. So what I'm inviting you guys to do is to step in a place where you guys are all creators and realizing even things that you didn't want to create in your life, some form or fashion, you designed it.
You're still creating it.
Yep. And it's not to say like, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault, but it's more of you.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I want to take responsibility, and that's where
it is what it is.
Yeah. And that's where problems can be resolved. Now, if I'm talking to someone and he's saying all women are bitches, you know, I can't stand women. They're snobby, they're assholes, and I'm going to give up dating altogether. Relationships are shit. I don't need a relationship because if I get in a relationship, it's just going to hold me down, and I'm not going to be able to focus on my business if I get in a relationship. And the only reason I'm saying these stories is because these are stories I hear like every day, and then some people get caught up in the idea of thinking like one day it's going to magically happen and that relationship's going to align for me and I'm going to find that healthy relationship. And the thing is if you don't recognize yourself as a creator and you think like life happens to you, then you're going to continue to unconsciously create that over and over and over again.
Jesse Elder.
Oh, no. No, Jesse Elder's not here. That's Tom. So without taking responsibility for what you create, you remain stuck. and you're going to continue to, like, you give up the responsibility, and you don't have to say that, you know, you can avoid saying that you're responsible for it, but if you give up the responsibility, then you're out of control. Like, once you declare hey, I'm worried about this happening in my life, and you're saying that you're not in control of that, then basically you are out of control because you created the circumstance of you not being in control. You're still creating, but you're creating the fact that you're not a creator.
Inside the box.
Yes.
You're inside the box.
Yeah, you're in the box of hell. So that's the gist of everything. If you guys can you all of you be open to saying, hey, I create everything. I create everything in my life. You can give me the middle finger if you agree. Flip off to agree. So now you're in a state like I'm the creator, so how the fuck do I create something different? That's the first step. Saying that you're a creator. Now you got this subconscious programming where it's like, okay, how can I make something different? How can I change everything in my life? And what's really worked for me, and I feel like my biggest breakthrough was relationships. I'll use that as an example. The biggest thing for me is I was raised by a mother who's an alcoholic, and my dad was enabling her, and that's what I saw in relationships. So the programming began until I was the age of 6, and then like whatever you learn till the age of 6 is just a pattern that repeats itself over and over again unless you take some conscious effort to change that pattern. So me being in that home, seeing a lot of drama, my mom, you know, yelling at my dad and verbally abusing him, and him allowing her to walk all over him. that was my perception of relationships. Every relationship, like my friendships, my romantic relationships, and just every person I'm in a relationship with, I was a pushover. I would allow them to, like, win-win situations weren't in my vocabulary because I felt like I had to let them win completely and I had to lose in order to be a giving, good person. They had to walk all over me to be a good person like my father. So I took that into my first major relationship. And at first you think, like, okay, well, you're being noble. You're allowing her to, you're doing everything that she pleases, and you're allowing her to do all that, do whatever she wants or whatever it is. Like, I'm not saying like as a controlling thing, but you're allowing her to make the decisions in the relationship. And that's what I was doing in my relationship at that time. And it became very toxic, just like my parents. So it was like a merry-go-round of bullshit. A big merry-go-round of bullshit, and it's like I would do things sacrificing my own well-being for her.
Boy, what's that?
Well, it's not that, like, got nothing against you motherfuckers, but I hear like blenders and shit. So it was just a merry-go-round of bullshit, and I would do things to sacrifice my well-being, and I would try to fit in the mold that she wanted me to be. And this is kind of touching into being authentic, right? So I'm trying to be what she wants me to be, and then she's not happy because I'm not standing in my masculinity, right? I'm just allowing her to dictate my life and walk all over me and tell me what to do and all that shit. And then instead of creating my boundaries in the first place in the relationship, by the way, this is a relationship that I probably had no business being in the first place if I did truly value myself, because she was at a place where she wasn't ready to fully love herself and love me. But that's like a whole different that's like, if I solved that problem in my story, then I couldn't be telling you the story right now. So yeah, it was just, it just got to a point where I held it in, and then from me being, and this goes into the drama triangle that I can describe later, but with me being the victim, I was the victim in that relationship. Well, first I was a hero, okay? First I was trying to save her. First I was trying to give her all of me and create a win-lose situation where she's winning and I'm losing. And I'm sacrificing my well-being, like she's sucking me, not in the good way, in a horrible way, like sucking gasoline, sucking energy out of me. And it got to a point where it's like, it gets to a point of resentment. So basically you become the hero and you try to save her, and then that creates you into being the victim, because then she starts taking advantage of you. And this isn't just in a romantic relationship, it's every relationship you're in. Friendships, business relationships, anything, any interaction with a human being. So then I was a victim. And that makes you resentful. So all the things that you're holding in, when I could easily created a boundary, I'm letting that build up within me. So that's what caused arguments, fights, and shit that was just out of control. And major toxic relationship, and it just turned into a lot of codependency, arguments. I would be at her, we'd be together every day, and we just never gave ourselves enough breathing room. And then I become the villain because I'm verbally abusing her, and one time physically abusing her, and it just becomes a shitstorm of like just bullshit. And that relationship ended very badly. It was like a 3-year relationship, broke up, a lot of resentment towards each other, got my ass kicked by the dude that she left me for, and it was just like, that was like rock bottom in my relationship world at that point. And of course there was a time where it's like life happens to me, and like how could she do that to me? Like how could she leave me for another guy? I was giving her paradise apparently. There's no reason why she should have left me. But that's the funny thing. It's like you get caught up into these patterns, and you start to think that's normal. Like you start to think like that. Like if you don't know any more about relationships, you start to think like the dumb shit you do in relationships is normal. The woman stays quiet, and you can't feel that energy because you've never been there before. And one day she's been thinking in her mind of leaving you for like 6 months now, and she finally takes action on it, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? I thought everything was fine. And that's the thing, like in a relationship like that, usually when you're used to fighting a lot and then shit just kind of settles down and you think like, oh, things are good, that's like the sweet spot of where she gave up. Like I gave up fighting with you, and I'm just trying to figure out the right way to leave you without like making this super messy, even though it's going to be messy. So during that time, I was blaming her, and um, something came along like on the interwebs. I was on MySpace, fixing up my top 8, and somewhere along the line I found like just I got into personal development, and that was like the first thing that I started developing on was my dating, because then I realized like, oh wait, now that I'm reading this dude's email trying to give me advice. I did this shit wrong. I did this shit wrong. I did this shit wrong. Oh shit, I really fucked up in that relationship. so so it all comes to a point where it's like when you finally learn that you can change that, and it's not necessarily magic. Like you don't wake up as a creator and say, oh, my new life will be awaiting me when I wake up tomorrow. It's more of the starting point of saying, oh wait, I'm the creator and I created this and I didn't like that, and now today I can decide to start my journey of creating. And then you start to acquire the skills and the mindset shifts and putting yourself in a new environment. And that's the beauty of it. Let me know where you guys are at with questions or anything like that, or what you're feeling. I'm contemplating on what direction I want to go in. I do want to definitely go into some more authenticity, and I'm really thinking of my journey, because like me being me, um, it was sort of the same breakthrough of me, that one relationship, and that's kind of what started my authenticity too. And I don't know, there was a time where I was just kind of quiet, and I didn't want people to hear me. And there were times where I was in real estate investing, and I didn't want to offend anybody. I was really clean with my message. I would say, and there was a time where I was a coach. There was a time where I was a coach where I was thinking of what my market wants, which is like you do want to know like what your ideal client wants, but you don't want to say, hey, these people have money, and I'm going to start acting like all proper to get money, and I'm going to be all stiff, because then you notice when you do that, people can't connect with you. In fact, there's this amazing video that would impact everyone on this call called Core Influence by Frank Kern. And I'll type that in the side chat. Brenton, You're late.
Yep.
Oh, it's good to have you, man.
Thanks.
So, Core Influence by Frank Kern, and just to give you like a overview of the power of authenticity is, let's say, did you ever have like someone who seems super polished? You know, you got someone who's super polished, he's in a suit, he's talking well and eloquently, but for some reason, you just don't like maybe this dude says, hey, I got this product, and if you pay $1,000, you'll get $1 million. You'll find out a way to make millions. And he's like all eloquent. He's wearing a nice suit. He's you know, everything is well put together. His words are nicely put. He doesn't cuss, and he just talks like a proper smart guy. But for some reason or another, you just don't want to buy from the dude. Like you have $1,000 in your bank account. You really want what he's selling. You really want to improve your business or whatever it is. But for some reason, the guy's not like, you're just not feeling him. You're like, who the fuck is this guy? And that's the whole point of being authentic. Because if you're not operating in your pure essence, then it's like there's this invisible barrier in between everybody you're trying to build that relationship with, like all relationships. And that seems to be like the key of this this video is just like all relationships and how to operate in it. It's sort of like I'll use a quote from Jesse Elder himself. It's like having sex with your clothes on. You know, Tom Cole over there. But it's pretty much like trying to fuck, but you're still wearing your jeans and you're wondering why they're not getting an orgasm. You're like, what the fuck? Because you're operating in this persona that's not you. And the reason why you operate in that persona the reason why you operate in that persona is because you're scared of what they think about you. And when you do that, then you're just second guessing. You're too caught up in your head to be in the conversation and be there to create influence. What I really notice, I want to use dating as an example. I'm going to use my story as an example. Like when I started to move towards my journey and get better at dating, what I noticed was there was a stage where I learned like these new tricks and techniques online on how to get women to sleep with me. I know, isn't that great? But it's like there's so many techniques of like what to say at this time, what to say at that time. Well, when you're consciously trying to think of like a pickup line or how to shift a conversation or like if you look at human conversations in the natural formula, it just doesn't work. You're trying to map it out in your head like, okay, this is the time where I'm supposed to have some physical contact with her, and then you're trying to force the stage of that interaction. You're like touching her arm or something. She's like, what the fuck? Because because instead of actually feeling into the moment and feeling like what's going on in her mind and what's going on in your mind and kind of feeling the energy, like that natural ability that you have, instead you're trying to go by a manual and saying what some dude from the UK wrote in an ebook, and you're saying like, okay, well, this is the time that I grab her leg or something like that, and it just doesn't make sense because that same dude who wrote that ebook, he's not there with you feeling the energy of the moment, so you can't perfectly time it right if you have your training wheels on. It can only get you so far. So that's what it's like to not be authentic. And so the major breaking point for me was when I took everything that I learned, but I allowed it to play in the back of my mind. And what I noticed was when I decided to let go of the things that I learned, and this can go with your marketing techniques, your sales techniques, dating techniques, or whatever type of skill set that you're learning. There comes a certain point where it's like time to forget everything and just play. And it's just go. You already did the learning. It's time to remove the training wheels and just ride. And maybe you might fall on your ass a few times, but you're going to be a lot more effective if you let go of the training wheels after you've already learned it. So I took what I learned and I did this event in LA with my coach Christopher John Stubbs and also a friend Eric Daniel. And it was funny. It's like all these guys are coming there wanting to learn dating, and they come in there and they're expecting to learn pickup lines and stuff. And there was like maybe 1 or 2 lines that were shared, like maybe a little technique here and there. But it became like this major breakthrough process for them, where it's like, I'm okay with rejection. That's all it was. Like, I'm okay with getting rejected, because that's what it is at a core level. When you can source your own power through that rejection, and you can approach people, or let's just say interact with people without worrying about rejecting and how the outcome will be in that crucial conversation, and you can be present in that moment, then that's when you can be in your pure essence and purely who you are at an authentic level. If you look at every moment as just to have fun, if you're we'll stay on the topic of dating since we're there. If you want to get a woman's phone number and you start up a conversation with a random woman, and you're thinking about, oh, I hope I get her phone number, I hope I get her phone number, and you're not enjoying the moment, then you're too disconnected. She's feeling that energy, whether she's like into psychology or not, it doesn't matter. Everyone can feel the energy, and they might not even notice it. They might not even be aware of it. But if you're putting off that vibe that you're not operating authentically, then you're not being worried about the outcome is going to cause you not to get the outcome 9 times out of 10. But what if every single moment was a blessing? What if every single moment was perfect? And no matter what the outcome was, it was a perfect experience. And you were free to act who you wanted to be like. And if that person doesn't agree with the desired outcome you wanted in that conversation, what if that was just a blessing in itself? Like, okay, that just means I get to work with somebody, or I get to have a relationship with somebody that is more fitting to who I am at a core level. Because what happens when you operate under a social mask and you start any type of relationship? Later down the road, there's only so long that you can keep up the act, especially when you're really close. So later down the road, 5 months later, they realize, like, wait, fuck, that's not what he's really like. And then they probably had on a fake social mask too, and you're like, fuck, that's not the person that I really wanted them to be like. And things start getting weird. But when you're in your essence, it's like when you're authentically you, then you notice, like, any type of barrier of, even in sales and persuasion especially, any barrier is just melted away. I've had people that I added on Facebook the day of, and I was purely in my essence, so I'm writing these smart-ass comments on her photos or whatever, and that same day she's messaging me being in a sales conversation. Like, your post just was talking to me, because there was no guard put up. It was like I immediately broke through that barrier by being me and being fully happy with who I am, and I stood out from all the white noise, and it's like, holy shit, this person is exactly like me, and is like, we both agreed, like, wow, we can start even higher relationship of them being a client. Just because it's like, holy shit, this guy tells the truth and he says what I'm thinking. So you don't have to be an abrasive ginger. You know, you don't. I understand that I like to stir the pot a lot. You know, that's just part of my personality. I'm an ENTP. I like to start some shit and stir up the waters just to get people to you know, start talking, and then I laugh about it. Like during political debates, you know, you can be arguing about Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump or whatever. I'm sitting back laughing my ass off, not giving a shit. And I may have offended everyone. Not offended, but I may have, you know, pissed off quite a few people that may be watching. Hopefully on the back end, probably not on the front end, because I know you guys are cool. But that's the beauty of it. It's like, and that's another thing, you know, if life happens through you, you don't get offended. You choose to be offended, right? It's like if you choose not to be offended, then no matter what someone does, it doesn't offend you. Like I can't even think, I don't even know what being offended feels like. I just, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, except skinny jeans. Skinny jeans, I'm still working on skinny jeans, but other than that, I'm pretty good. I don't get offended. So Robert, does that help you become more clear on the authenticity part, or?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. It's good.
And some other things. You're echoing a little bit. I'm gonna be rude, man. Silence. I also wanted to touch on a little bit of. We got about 25 minutes. I'm not too strict on time. I wanted to touch a little bit on the upper limit patterns, and this will also be linked to authenticity, because when you are in a flow state, that means you're being authentic. And basically what the whole upper limit thing is more of how good can you stand it. And of course, Matt and Jody know exactly what I'm talking about, because they're fellow purgers with me, and we've gone in the depths and done some real cool shit in Ojai, California, where we didn't have phones. And 3 days seemed like 4 days. 4 days seemed like an entire year, but it was like the most amazing year of this year. So the whole thing about upper limits is we all have a thermostat on happiness. It's basically energy. It's our vibrance. It's you know, it's basically how good can you stand it. It can be linked to money, because money is energy. But I don't want to get too into a business perspective. I want to get more into like more of like your frequency for everything. And a lot of times you try to accomplish these goals and you wonder why your tires are just spinning, and for some reason you're not reaching it. Like, so many people know to work out and eat healthy, but then for some reason you told yourself you're going to work out every day, you're going to eat healthy, and for some reason you know it's good for you, and you know it helps you feel good and everything like that, but you drop the ball and you start sabotaging. Like a very common thing that I've noticed is, you know, you start to work out, let's say you lose 10 pounds, and you're like, cool, I lost 10 pounds. Now I look awesome. That means I get to eat pizza. It's almost like somewhere in your mind you're saying, I got to eat pizza now that I lost 10 pounds. And then you eat that pizza, and your mind tricks you, because first you told yourself it was going to be a one-time thing, and a lot of times that turns into a chain reaction, and then you have like these things called fuck it days, not fuck it in the positive way that we use in the group, but you have these days where it's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to I'm gonna get this Frappuccino with some extra whipped cream, and then fuck it, I'm gonna eat a cheeseburger, and fuck that, I'm gonna eat this, and it's like then you spiral down. Before you know it, you're like, how the fuck did I gain the 10 pounds back? And it's almost like a hypnotic. It is a hypnotic rhythm. That's exactly what hypnotic rhythm is, and the reason being is because this upper limit is a thermostat of how good you can stand it. How good can you stand life? So once you hit that thermostat, then you start doing things to sabotage, just to feel comfortable again. Now, the reason why I'm going with authenticity with this, because authentic is the best way to raise that upper limit. And being in that flow state, and there's many ways that you can get into that flow state. So something that Jody and Matt, something that we've done a lot lately in our routines were dance parties. Like just fucking, like how many times do you really get movement in your life, or like as adults? We have so much movement as kids. We start to stiffen up as adults, and we forget what it's like to have fun again. So by having these dance parties, or to just have fun and let loose and get a lot of movement within you, then you're raising your frequency, constantly raising it, and you're just seeing. It's a game of seeing how good you can stand it. Like even when you feel like stopping, even when you feel like to stop feeling good. If you're able to stop that sabotage and say, hey, now I'm aware of this. Like now I'm aware that the reason why I want this slice of pizza is because I'm trying to sabotage myself. Then instead of beating yourself up for it, what if you were to love yourself and just say, hey, this is just some programming that's in my mind. It's nothing to say that I'm flawed, because we all human beings have it. But what if instead of going for that pizza, I did something else to feel good? What if and it's like so many different things you can do. You could get movement within dancing, like just moving parts of your body that you didn't even know that could move, or you forgot that could move, like your wrist or your hips or your neck and your jaw, and really get that movement flowing. Another way you can do it is meditation. Allowing yourself to just be in that state and meditate and conscious and get the breathing in. And the most simple way to do it is inhale for 6 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds and replay a mantra. And some of those mantras could be I'm unconditional love, or I'm getting stronger every day. Like let's say if it was fitness, and you decide not to eat the pizza, and like I'm getting leaner and stronger every day, and you just play that mantra and you breathe in and out and you get that breath work in instead of being in that adrenaline grabbing anything you can to sabotage. Another way to shift from it is appreciation. So what you appreciate appreciates. If you were to shift your expectations on the outcome into appreciation, then you'll notice everything that you appreciate in your life starts to grow. And that's a huge thing for relationships as well. As you go down the rabbit hole of a relationship, you'll notice some things is going to piss you off about that person. And then you're going to start to look at the things that irritate you about that person. Well, if you decide to appreciate them for the things that you do love and appreciate for the good things, just like you did in the honeymoon phase, then those things start to grow because you're telling that person you appreciate them for that, and then all of a sudden they start becoming more and more like that because they're getting a wave of love for doing that. And then you start not to notice the things that used to bother you. But yeah, appreciation for others and appreciating yourself and appreciating everything around you is probably the most valuable shift move that you can use. I like how you're zooming in, Robert. That's a pretty cool camera. And so, do any of you guys have any questions about it or want me to extend on anything?
No, pretty good, man.
Awesome.
Very nice.
What have you noticed? Like areas of your own life where you feel like you hit an upper limit?
Well, I mean, like income-wise, I mean, you hit a glass ceiling, and there's a reason why you hit a glass ceiling because your mind is limited because you're limiting yourself. So if you take the governor off, bam, it opens up.
Yep.
So and the way it opens up is, you're illuminating yourself. You're where there's light, there's no darkness. So you shine the light on those dark areas, and bam, you got revelation.
Darkness.
Darkness.
Yeah, it's like it's a big self-love thing, a self-worth thing. You notice like there's been times where I hit a new
because there's times in my life I felt like shit. That's for sure.
There's
Felt
times
like
I hit
the lowest of the low.
Oh man. There's times I hit like new price points and stuff, and then I'm like, holy fuck, do I deserve this? And it's like this high point. Like every time like I reach a new price point, I celebrate, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I brace myself, the upper limit's coming.
You're damn right. You deserve it. You created it.
Yep. We are fantastic creators. So I feel
constantly
I feel
trying
pretty
to build
clear.
that better mousetrap.
Yep. I feel pretty clear on my end of some of the stuff I wanted to share. And Brenton, I see you there. So if you have any questions, I know you came in the middle of this. So I want to open this up for a little bit of Q&A. If there is no questions, then I'll go on with my life and have sex or something. I don't know.
So how did it feel when you and your compadre dressed up in the tutu and waltzed down the street?
You know what? That's a perfect question because that goes right with the authenticity thing. I felt, and I'll let Matt come in and explain how he felt, but I felt amazing. First there was like an oh shit moment. I feel like that's like some shit that I like doing, but there was still like a subconscious oh shit moment going through me when we were leaving the thrift store. But I'd say within 15 minutes I felt lightheaded, like I felt like I was on cloud 9 because
it's like Clark Kent going into the phone booth, huh? And bam, out comes Superman.
I don't know. How do you feel, Matt?
Well, it was like the biggest thing for me was just kind of getting in my head about it and really instantly, I mean, getting into my shit about own personal judgments, how I assume what people are thinking, and it was a really good opportunity to really see parts of myself that I judged and felt like I didn't fully, completely love because it was getting, I mean, just full front in my head there. So it was, yeah, there was like the oh shit moment, but then it was like kind of getting comfortable because it was like something that clicked in my head that was like, well, what's the main thing between me feeling embarrassed or feeling weird in this situation and me just fucking having an amazing experience and a fun time, and it was totally mindset. And once I just like appreciated myself for what I was doing, stepping out of my comfort zone, and really just being myself, we had a blast about it. And then, I mean, shit, we were out there for what, 3 or 4 hours. After like an hour, it was just like looking at people like, yeah, this is how I dress. How are you doing, man? Like, how are you feeling right now?
Matt, that was pretty funny.
We were,
I liked
we were
your
joking
getup,
about
man.
picking
That was
up women.
Thank
But
you.
I swear, like, if you can get into the state that we were in, it doesn't fucking matter what. You could be wearing that shit. I guarantee somehow, some way, you're gonna get a woman's phone number. Like, I'm 90% serious. Like, it's because it's like if you have the fucking balls to wear that shit, then it's like it's just showing like a little bit of, you know what, I need to do an experiment video. I'll do an experiment video. I still have my outfit, and I'm going to see how many phone numbers I can get. We'll see if it works.
That's cool, man.
So,
I have a quick question.
what's up, Brenton?
So, what would be some advice or way you would approach a situation or situations in which being your truest, authentic self is actually, you know, because it's going to be off-putting to some people and to some situations, right?
Mhm.
So what's the best way to deal with, I guess, that dynamic?
So are you talking about worrying about it happening or after the
No,
fact?
when it does, when you're cool with it, but like, I mean, because, you know, we can't control other people's responses, but like, what if there is a negative, or you hurt someone's feelings or offend someone, you know, those kind of situations.
Right. So I'm definitely all for being authentic and being you at the core level. At the same, like for me, if I offend someone, then it's like, okay, well, they chose to be offended. Now, if I were purposely like trying to hurt people, then I'm being a dick. And there's ways I can be authentic without being a dick to people. So I don't. What I believe is to be you 100% without hurting others. And I feel like being authentic, you can actually help people on a higher level. Now, if they get triggered, a lot of times there's going to be people that get triggered. And the perfect example is I want to use is, I'm sure a lot of you know who Garrett J. White is with the Wake Up Warrior movement, and there's a story about him. He was at a grocery store, and he told his daughter was saying something about this woman being overweight or being pregnant or something like that, and he's like no honey, she's just overweight, she doesn't take care of her body. And it just triggered the fuck out of her. And she left the grocery store crying, but at the end of the day, she came. I mean, not the end of the day, but like when he walked outside, she came up to him, and after she calmed down and said, "You know what? You're right. You know, I haven't been taking care of my body, and I want to change now." And he gives her contact information for a fitness trainer or something along the lines of that. And she went on to change her life. So my whole thing is, me being an authentic person, I want to tell people the truth that might not be socially acceptable, but if it's gonna help people change and grow, and instead of living in a world where people stay under their social mask and act nice, but then talk behind their backs or whatever. Instead of trying to be nice and be liked, I want to be that authentic person that makes an impact on the world. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to go around to every person and say, "Hey, you're fat," but it's like if I'm on a conversation with somebody and maybe they're a potential client or something like that, I'm not going to agree with their stories. Like if they're being a victim and they're saying like, well, I'm in this position because life happened to me and life's not fair. I'm going to call them out on that, even if it may trigger them and make them pissed off at that moment, because that's what they most need to hear, rather than me being an asshole and saying, oh yeah, life is hard, all right, what's your credit card number, and then selling them into a program by reinforcing their stories. I think I went along into the coaching route a little bit, but does that sound pretty clear to you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like I went through some landmark education programs. So they have a phrase called a meaning-making machine. So that's what we are. We're all meaning-making machines. We have a meaning for everything. We come up with a story for everything. Well, this happened because this happened because this happened. No, it's because of you wanted it to happen. You allowed it to happen.
Yep. And
and then you don't want to take responsibility for your shit. So, then it really starts falling apart.
Absolutely. And you don't need to apologize for shining your light, no matter how many people in your past, whether it's religion, parents, society, or whatever, told you not to shine your light. Shining your light is the best thing that you can do for this world, instead of hiding in a persona that when you're trying to impress people or honor social contracts people put you under, then you're not serving them at the highest level, and you're kind of just fitting in with the white noise.
Yeah.
Are you showing us your breast?
Oh, sure, here. But I thought that was pretty cool. You and your sidekick go out there on the street in circus attire. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
But I bet it caused a lot of people to think. That's the thing,
Oh, they were thinking all right.
That's what you want to do, You want to get people out of the box.
Yeah. Wake them up from the
Take the lid off. There's more to the world than what you're seeing.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel pretty clear. I definitely want to answer any questions if you guys come up with any, but I
thought we'd have more of an audience.
Awesome call here.
I thought we'd have more of an audience.
We had a few more people. They dropped out. I think I went on the deep end.
And I think you went overboard with the fucks.
Yeah.
Fuckalicious.
Fuck them. Well, no, like this is in a group called Fuck It, so I would think they're okay with it. Maybe they were getting dinner or something. But the one guy was a new face. He might have been like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yeah, you better block him out of the group.
you only listened to half of my coaching session. Get the fuck out. You non-committed motherfucker. Meanwhile, he's probably watching the replay and hearing us. I knew I should have hit stop the broadcast, so would stop recording. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for
all right. Thanks, man.
Being on this amazing call.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you too.
All right. Later, guys.
Oh, fuck it, salute.
Thanks, Brandon.
Bye, Terry.
See
Bye.
you later.
The middle finger in the black background.